We've watched it countless times. The climax of Avengers Endgame. Tony Stark, battered, bruised, but defiant, stares down Thanos. The Infinity Stones, now his burden,
Ultron.
glow on his glove. He delivers the most iconic line in cinematic history. I am Iron Man. Snap. We remember the searing light, the finality of the sacrifice, the quiet, heartbreaking farewell. For years, the popular narrative has been simple. Tony was the only one capable. He was the one destined to save the world. He was the only choice. But what if that's the greatest lie we all bought into? What if the real reason Tony Stark reached for the stones was not an act of necessary sacrifice, but an act of psychological necessity? An act of self-forgiveness? The story of Tony Stark's sacrifice is not about Thanos. It's about a man trying to silence the one true villain he could never defeat. The ghost
Iron
of
Legion
mistakes past.
need door yield control.
To understand Endgame, we must return to the age of Ultron. New York was the trauma. Ultron was the symptom. After the Chitauri invasion, Tony was diagnosed with a profound form of post-traumatic stress disorder. His solution: a suit of armor around the world. That need for total, unwavering control and safety was the initial fatal flaw in his character. Ultron was the direct manifestation of Tony's hubris and his overwhelming fear of failure. It was the first time his genius didn't save the world, it almost destroyed it. That moment birthed a fundamental shift in Tony's self-perception. He was no longer just the hero who flew in to save the day. He was the creator of catastrophe. The memory of Ultron didn't just fade, it became a permanent psychological burden, a voice whispering, "You are capable of destroying everything you love." Every subsequent invention, every new suit, every new strategy was a desperate attempt to atone for the original sin of Ultron. When the snap happened, it wasn't just a loss. It was a horrifying confirmation of his worst fear. He failed to put that suit of armor around the world. Thanos was just a symptom of a larger cosmic chaos, but in Tony's mind, the failure was rooted in his own insufficient preparation. The sacrifice in Endgame wasn't just to reverse Thanos' action, it was to retroactively justify every desperate, guilt-driven action he had taken since Ultron. He had to succeed this time, even if the cost was everything. The second major wound was civil war. The Sokovia Accords and the fight with Captain America were not merely political disagreements, they were a complete breakdown of Tony's personal relationships. Tony, the man who craved a team, who desperately sought connection after his parents' death, was the one who fractured the deepest bond he had the Avengers. The realization that his fear and his control issues had driven away his most trusted allies, including Steve Rogers, left an invisible scar. He felt profoundly isolated. The guilt from Ultron had been collective, but the guilt from Civil War was personal. He broke the family. Now, fast forward to Endgame. When Scott Lang proposes time travel, Tony is the one who initially refuses. This refusal is crucial. It's not just contentment with Morgan and Pepper. It's a deep-seated fear of making another catastrophic mistake. He knows, intrinsically, that he is the smartest person in the room, but he also knows he is the most dangerous person in the room. His attempts to solve problems always lead to higher stakes. Ultron, Civil War, even the Iron Legion. His first instinct is self-preservation for others, knowing his presence is a cosmic risk factor. He is terrified of being the one to mess up the delicate time travel plan. It takes the subconscious vision of Peter Parker, the son he failed to protect, to finally make him commit. He solves the time travel equation not out of duty, but out of a desperate, guilt-ridden need to right the ultimate wrong Peter's dusting. The climax arrives. Why didn't Captain Marvel take the gauntlet? Why not Thor, who was ready and physically more capable of handling the cosmic energy? Because the final snap was not a test of power, but of purpose. Tony knew the snap would kill him, but he also knew that his death was the only way to truly secure his desired peace, not for himself, but for his family and the world. Think about the moment he says, "I am Iron Man." This isn't a boast or a simple callback. It's the final, defining moment of acceptance and atonement. It's Tony Stark, finally confronting the full, terrifying weight of the Iron Man mantle. The brilliance, the arrogance, the trauma, and the mistakes. It's him saying, "I am the one who caused Ultron. I am the one who fractured the team. I am the one who was too afraid to try time travel. And now, I am the one who pays the price for all of it." His sacrifice became a zero-sum calculation for his soul. He traded his life for two things: the world's safety, the immediate, obvious victory against Thanos; Tony Stark's forgiveness, the definitive, irreversible end to his cycle of fear and guilt. By giving his life, he finally earned the peace he had been desperately trying to build with technology for over a decade. He ensured he would never be around to make a mistake that would endanger Pepper or Morgan again. The scene where Tony is dying, surrounded by Pepper and Rhodey, is the raw consequence of his choice. Pepper's final words, "You can rest now," are poignant because they confirm the exhaustion that has defined his life since 2012. He was not just tired of fighting, he was tired of carrying the burden of his own genius and mistakes. His death ensured Morgan would have a future free from Thanos, but more importantly, free from the shadow of her father's potential future failures. Tony, the man who was driven by the fear of losing his family, ultimately chose to lose himself, to guarantee their safety, a truly selfless, yet profoundly guilt-driven act. His legacy is now clean. The narrative surrounding Iron Man is singular, the Redeemer. All the past errors, the accidental creation of villains, the abandonment of friends, are washed clean by the final heroic act. He paid the perpetual price so others could live without the shadow of his mistakes.
You can rest now.
This is the real reason. Tony Stark had to die to finally forgive Tony Stark. He couldn't live a life of peace. He had to buy it with the ultimate currency. So, the sacrifice of Iron Man was an act of profound selflessness woven into an inescapable psychological conclusion. It was the only ending that could satisfy the heroic arc of a man defined by guilt and the constant pursuit of an unattainable suit of armor. He walked away from his happy ending not because he was the only solution, but because he was the only person whose internal debt required such an extreme form of payment. The story of Iron Man is the most tragic in the MCU, because the hero he died to become was the man he could never be while alive.